child does not reach their full God-given potential, I am here to stir up. I'm sorry. You can hear me?
Not very well.
Okay, sorry. I'll stop. Is that right? Is that good? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry. Okay, I'm doing it again. What will the world miss if your child does not reach their full God-given potential? I'm here to stir up your mama bear heart. I'm here to show you and tell you my story and tell you all about my mistakes so that you can make different choices and different decisions. I'll tell you what I did right and I'll tell you what I did wrong. So who's doing the slides? Are you doing the slides?
I am.
That's right. That's okay. And I'll tell you my story because in this day and age, you mamas are contending with so many things. We're gonna focus on technology in this one because you have many battles to face. But let me tell you, this one is war. This one is one where you gotta armor up. You gotta decide, make decisions now, and you're at the perfect time. I love to speak to mamas in your place because you have such an incredible advantage. And some of you, literally, I know that God is using me today to change the complete story of your child and your family's life. Like, I'm gonna save you lots of heartache. I'm gonna save you lots of frustration. I am going to save you, you're gonna have payoffs that you would have never imagined because you're gonna make different choices, or you're gonna start a journey today to making different choices about technology. So my story starts right there. This is my family. There's Mark, my husband of 28 years. And there's Joshua, he's 16, and Alexandra, she's 11. Joshua is our biological miracle. It took us 10 years to get pregnant, so I dealt with infertility. And then Alexandra is our adoption miracle. We got to adopt her at birth. Like, she came out and she was in my arms. So, you know, that picture it's a hard won picture. Because when I said 28 years ago, I said I do to my husband, I had no idea I was marrying a gamer. Like, that word didn't exist back then. And I kind of didn't notice because I was literally in the middle of law school. We wanted to be together as much as possible, so I literally, in the middle of my 3 years of law school, in the middle, Christmas break, I got, you know, a law school final on Wednesday and I got married that Saturday. And it was like a disaster, but it all came together, right? And then we just started on our way. But because I was so busy studying and going to school, I didn't notice that my husband would work all day and then come home and game hours and hours or all night and then go to work the next day. So back then I called myself a computer widow. Now it would be called a tech widow. And some of you might be tech widows. Your husband might be immersed in gaming or work, it's just emails, right? Or just the 24/7 demands of their job keeps them on screens all the time. So, next. So this is a picture of the birth of Unplugged Family, my ministry. I spent so many years being so alone as a wife before we had children that I decided, you know what, we're going to do this differently. I mean, my husband in the end had to quit gaming cold turkey for 2 years, no games for 2 years for us to get back on track. And our marriage survived. And let me tell you, there's some marriages that don't survive. And I have moms that have told me I've given my husband an ultimatum about it's the games or it's me, or it's, you know, porn or it's me, right? So because of that pain, I knew I was going to raise my children differently. And it took us again 10 years to get pregnant. So in that time, I had time to look around and watch my friends, and everybody else had children, which everybody, every time somebody called and said, I'm pregnant, or here's a, Mother's Day or whatever, it's like, oh, it was, it's so hard. But I got to see that my friends had really beautiful, bright children who were absorbing technology. And back then, it was DS, Nintendo, Xbox. I mean, they just went through the progression of whatever the next tech fad was for kids, and they would accept it without question. And the kids were immersed in it. So when I saw that, I thought, okay, no, that's not gonna be my kid. And so when Joshua was born, the pediatrician said, okay, 2 years, the first 2 years, no screens. And I was like, okay, let's go for 4 years. And then when they came to video games and all the kids around him were playing video games, I was like, you know what, we're just gonna, my mantra became, I will hold out as long as I can. And that mantra served me very, very well. Most people around me were like, whatever, what does she know? And now, 10, 15 years later, they're all coming to me, and they're having regrets. And this is what if you make certain decisions, are not going to happen. And that's part of the reason why I'm here. This picture was taken at a family camp. So we did pretty good with my son, and then my daughter came, and by that time my son was watching a little TV. And of course the iPhone had shown up, right? And at the time that the iPhone came, we own a company called 911 Air Cargo. And our job was to launch airplanes. We brokered airplanes in emergencies. So if we moved 7 dolphins from Japan to Mexico. So somebody called and said, move this from here to there, from point A to point B anywhere in the world. We did that for 10 years. So when the iPhone came, we thought we were liberated because my business used to be 24/7, 365. When I got this, I actually was in Legoland with my son, and I was making a deal, where I landed $40,000. I'm like, whoa, this is the life. This is it, right? And because of that, we got a little lax when my daughter came. So it was not until we went to this camp that they told us, you know what, there's no Wi-Fi here, so don't bother bringing devices. So I thought, whoa, how is my husband gonna survive without email? How are we gonna do this, right? But we went, and again, it was heaven on earth. It literally 6 days, 100% unplugged. Can you imagine that? Can you guys think of 6 days, no screens? Has anybody experienced that? No, okay, it's possible. So anyway, it was heaven on earth. This is next to the last day. We climbed 1.5 miles for breakfast. We took that picture, panoramic picture, and I thought, okay, God, this is it. This feels like heaven to me. I'm going to come down to earth, and I'm going to figure out how to do this, how to unplug and connect to my family, and how to encourage other mamas to do the same. And that's what I'm here. Next. All right, so I'm going to talk to you about what does it take in this age to make that connection. Because the bottom line, when it comes to you and your kids and winning in the battle over technology, is connection, attachment. That is the basis of everything that's gonna be good and will produce kids who are secure and who are not anxious. I'm telling you, the rates of anxiety, depression, suicide, I mean, we're talking 10-year-olds, it's just skyrocketing. And so I want you to go on your table right now and just each one of you take a little bit and just share what is one of your concerns about technology. And what is one of the things that you enjoy about technology in your family life? Like, what is one thing that you're like, I'm so glad, we live in this day and age because this is awesome. And what is one thing that is like, okay, this is scary or this drives me crazy? All right, go. And then when I say come back here, you guys stop, okay? Because I know once we get going, it's like, Go ahead.
It's too offensive. No. So what is it that you do?
Trying to get
Yeah, two.
boy, girl, both.
Both boys.
No boys. Okay, that was
So
yeah, try to do this. Try to do the first year thing and just the one so I'm trying to be give myself grace. I'm gonna just develop so what we've done is condense it just to 30 to 45 minutes in the morning and that's it. So it doesn't have to be, we're trying to do it, it's just the morning. But what's frustrating is that she's going to go back to I think she went back up there. So she's like, she's going to try to, but I feel like communicating a message with her you could just switch whatever you want. So I'm having a hard time with that. A positive feeling would be fixing because I don't have any family so it's really kind of grandparents as well. And you just took a bite. So.
I know, I'm sorry. This Yes, of course.
You can just my friend.
So we're talking about, we have a moment right now to talk about the things we don't like about technology. Okay, so we do. So.
Like when we were kids, I put it in movie for her.
Yeah.
I enjoyed everything.
All right, start coming by.
For me, it's a FaceTime. It's all our families and all the families. We like the FaceTime.
Okay. Oops.
And there's too many dangers on it.
All right. Go back this way. Okay, that was fun, right? Yeah. So what I'm gonna share now is gonna be what is it that you need for you to help your kids thrive. And I've interviewed at Unplugged Family. Ironically enough, I have do Facebook Live interviews. So I know it's Unplugged Family, but I'm on Facebook. I'm sorry. But I've gotten to interview psychologists, psychiatrists, psychotherapists, authors, and experts. And the bottom line, I mean, like, you know, I could say this and you guys could leave and you'll be set, is that, well, one expert in particular, her name is Hillary Cash, and she has the first internet rehab center in the country, which is in Seattle. So 20-somethings and even high schoolers now go there for weeks, months to recover, just like a drug addict would. 1 out of 11 kids will be addicted to gaming in such a way that it will literally destroy their lives. Like it will be as harmful and as detrimental to them as being a hardcore drug addict or a hardcore alcoholic. So they come to her facility to restart their life. And what they do at this facility is they, you know, get a full night's sleep, they get up early, they exercise, they eat breakfast, they have chores. We're talking basics, right? The basics of life that you guys are laying down for your kids right now, those good, healthy habits, that's what these kids have to do. Because, you know, mom and dad didn't know any better, honestly, and they just said okay to gaming at probably too early of an age, and then that progression went on until it became an addiction. So she says attachment. You gotta be, next slide. We got to attach. And attachment, for you mamas, it's it's easy because we love our kids, right? We want to hold them, we want to love them. But, how many of us have been tempted to hold our baby, feed them, or while they're sleeping, do this, right? We can, no, it's called breasting. you're texting or catching them on still while you're breastfeeding your baby, right? Yeah. And guess what? We are losing that opportunity. We think our baby is just laying there asleep, nothing's happening. Well, there's literally millions of connections happening at that time. And we lose the opportunity to bond with our baby, to fall in love with them and create that strong attachment that we need for life. Like moms, you got to set you and your child's relationship so that you can make it to the long haul. And that when they're older, boy, there's a lot of payoffs for that. So that's the first thing that I want you guys to think about is there's no greater love than to lay down our lives for our friends. And just as Jesus laid down his life for us, his friends, we are to lay down in this season, lay down our lives for our children. And so I want you to think about, how am I going to approach distractions and technology so that I can lay down my life and really connect and really attach, make a secure attachment with my child. That's one. Next. And again, attachment, all attachment means, by the way, is just look at them, touch them, talk to them, cuddle them. That's it. I mean, it is that simple. But studies show that we are touching our kids less and less. We're speaking to them less and less because we are the ones that are distracted, right? And again, some of you work from home, I get it. And it feels not, believe me, that when I came from that camp, I would start digital detoxes. Okay, let's detox for 3 days. Let's detox for a week. And it was easier back then, believe me. It's almost impossible now, right? But what I recommend to you is that you look at your relationship with technology and start being more conscious about it. And start thinking about creating those rhythms in your family life so that you can all unplug and connect at the same time. So all unplugging at the same time, it could be, meal times. Like make that, you don't have to decide. If you decide ahead of time with your husband, okay, meal times are gonna be screen-free times. Again, the table can be used for homework or for work, right? But when it comes to meal times, clear everything up and really, not just, I have what I call these connection boxes all over my house. Here's one I'm gonna pass around. This one is called the Be Present box, right? So inside it says, insert phone, close lid, be present. And you can have your kids create a box out of like a shoebox, a big shoebox. They have them decorated with you, painted, stickers, whatever. And then you have those literally all over the house. Now, when it comes to the dining room, I really want the phones, I suggest you put the phones out of sight completely for meals. So just have a different station. But I'm gonna pass this around so you can take a look because I really think it's cool. And it's called the Be Present box. I have this one in my kitchen, and I just put the phone in there. Now, all this does is create a little barrier between you and the device, so that you can think, you can take a second to think, do I need to do this right now, right? And one of the things that I recommend for kids, next slide, is to, next one, again, bonding. That's all it is. Okay, so it takes 25 years for your child's brain to fully develop. And through that whole time, they need to have secure attachment. So, that's a long ways. We think, we would, I don't know, I used to think, I mean, that number was amazing to me when I first heard it. But our kids' brains, from birth to 2 years, grow 3 times its size. So the first 3 years are truly critical for brain development because they are going to make millions, literally millions of neural connections. And those connections are made as you hold them, as you talk to them, as you narrate your life, as you point out to them what's important. So it's super important, mom and dad, for you to speak more at home. Because we are not speaking, because we're texting and screen time and all that, we're speaking less. So it's important for you to be conscious of, oh, I need to tell my son what I'm doing. Even in using the device. Like if you start basically letting the kids know, this is a tool. This is a tool that we use to enhance our real life. So I'm gonna use this tool right now and I'm gonna call the doctor, or I'm gonna text dad, or I'm gonna, whatever it is that you're gonna do, let them know what you're doing and why you're doing it, so that they get it that, oh, I'm gonna schedule an appointment, which I do recommend paper calendars as well, by the way, so that you can teach kids to look at a calendar and look at time that way. Go ahead. Again, bonding. Okay, so attention. The first, attention creates attachment. So our job, again, is to be fully present. And I had a psychotherapist tell me that we spend 95% either in the future, worrying partly, or in the past, having regrets. And we only spend 5% in the present. And I thought, okay, I mean, I still don't know if I buy that, but I do catch myself, wait a minute, I'm not here. So that's the other conscious, again, this is conscious digital parenting, thinking about, am I here with my child? Am I here with my family? Or am I worried about, or am I here with them, but I'm thinking about that phone call or that something else I gotta do? It's like, so think about bringing yourself always to the very present and engaging eye to eye, heart to heart, because that's where we're building connection. We're building connection. And I did not know when I said no screens till 4 years old. Now I understand, because I've read the books and talked to these people, that what I was doing is I had my son was building connections that created resiliency, that created more autonomy, that created more relatedness. And so people would say, he's so calm. I mean, we could take him to a fine restaurant, we could, I mean, you know, he could do anything with us. Anyway, I to this day, people tell me, oh my goodness, your son, right? So I think, you know, as you practice these things and implement some of these things, people are gonna think your kids are geniuses. Because if you decide, you know what, I'm gonna live a screen light way, and sometimes I'm gonna live a screen-free way, meaning the rhythms of, okay, we can unplug once a month, we can unplug for a full 24 hours, which, by the way, today is the National Day of Unplugging. So this is a perfect day to do this, right? And this is started by a Jewish organization that was concerned about the Sabbath. And so from sundown tonight to sundown tomorrow, thousands of people, and probably by now millions, because it's been going on for years, all over the world are literally going to turn everything off for 24 hours. So if you're so inclined, you may join us. And it's called nationaldayofunplugging.com, and you can get, you know, posters that say I unplug, and you can post pictures. But you can decide, okay, I'm gonna unplug for 2 hours. Or when I tell my kids, it's okay, no screens tomorrow. I'm gonna do the 24 hours. I don't know if my husband can, but no screens until noon tomorrow, or no screens until you determine a time that you're gonna shut everything off. And weekends, of course, are a good time to do that, so that the kids don't have expectations of a screen. And when they don't, magical things happen. They find options, right? They find something else to do. And go ahead. Okay, awareness. And this is what I'm doing right now, is making you aware. I'm sure you were aware of some of these things already, but I'm just adding to your awareness. so that you understand that when your child is involved in a screen, in a 2D world, and immersed in this, they're missing out on a 360 world, in a three-dimensional world, because our kids need to be every day, they need to have human connection, they need to move, and they need to experience life in real time, and with all their senses, with their whole body. And this is what is gonna create kids that thrive, they're calmer, that, have that connection with you, so that when you give them that look, they understand. It is the, parents say, these days, parents talk to me and say, how can I get anything done if I don't give them an iPad? I need to go cook or work or whatever, but what happens is that we hand them the iPad, and then the iPad creates the problem that only the iPad becomes a solution to. Does that make sense? And so by creating spaces where our kids can be next to us, playing with their blocks while we cook, or as they get older, involving them into what they're doing, or letting them mess up the house and build a fort, or letting them outside every day, please, every day, let them outdoors. World Health Organization is saying we spend 93% of our time indoors. So if you live to 100, you're gonna spend 93 years of your life indoors. And that is unacceptable. Even my kids, I admit, they don't really wanna go outside. And so at this age, you can train them to just be like, being outside is an expectation, and it's something that they're excited about, and that they want to, let's go get our vitamin D, let's go to the park and move. It is so important for kids to have free play outside. Okay, I can't see now. Oh, look, sorry. Okay, place these devices out of reach and check them through certain times. I had somebody that they would put the phone in their car, and they would only go check it at a certain time so they wouldn't be tempted. So whatever you have to do, you can be creative on that. Oh, there you go. So isn't that cool? I thought that's a great idea. Go ahead. Okay, so now you have, most of you know that now with Apple came screen time. So you can actually, next slide, you can actually monitor how much time you spend on screen. So they will tell you 2 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. It will be like eye-opening, and it will tell you what you're spending your time on. Take a look at that and make it a priority to figure out how to reduce that. There's an app called Moment. If you want to take a look, that's really good. That actually has a little coach in there that can help you reduce screen time. And it's just a matter of creating new habits, less pickups, right? People are picking up their phone 150 times a day, 200 times a day, checking email, incredible amounts of time. We know that we start scrolling, or we go for one thing, and then we see a notification, and then we get sucked in, right? How many does that happen to? We don't want to admit it. If you don't have an iPhone, then there's an app for other phones in the App Store. Next. All right, attachment. And again, that is the bottom line, mama. You need to go for connection. You need to go for attachment with your child, and for them to be attached to others. One of the things that I want to encourage you to do is to pray for your child to have lifelong friends, to find their lifelong friends in their younger years. I had, walking into kindergarten, I asked God, I said, God, please, out of this deal, he went through a school that's K through 12, out of this, would you please give my son one lifelong friend? And I imagine a friend that they would just grow up together, and they would go out in the world and do amazing feats, and that their story would be, we met in kindergarten. And God answered my prayer. Sam is my son's best friend for now 11 years, 12 years, right? That's my son over there. and out of that, not only did he get Sam, and Joshua is a professional filmmaker, by the way, an award-winning filmmaker at 16, and his friend is a professional actor. So it's like literally Sam is in most of my son's movies. And it's literally like a match made in heaven, right? And I could never have asked for that. I could never have asked for that. But pray and ask God, God, just give my child at least one, but two. Now, he's got now three. He has three that are going to be lifelong friends. And out of that, the bonus was that I got lifelong friends. I didn't even think about myself, but I got these mamas that I got together when our kids were little. We would read books, The Mission of Motherhood by Sally Clarkson, or we would watch a video series together. But basically, we bring our kids and we would just stick together. And these are four of us that have stuck together all these years. And literally, these are the friends that will drop anything if I need them. Like, who do you call on your worst day? And who do you call on your best day? Those are the kind of friends you want. And it's your job, mama, to create your tribe while your kids are young. Because let me tell you, it gets a lot harder when they're older and everybody scatters and their schedules, activities are different. So find your mamas here. You can find your mamas here and get together, not play dates or arrange things so that you can have one-on-one, heart-to-heart relationships and bond together, because I'm telling you, this is such a bonus in life to do things with friends. So next. Attachment is created by attention and again, awareness. At all times, you gotta know, are we attaching? Am I connecting to my child? Because we can be talking at them, or can we talking with them? And with them is, again, eye contact, touch, loving them with the 5 love languages. You guys, everybody knows about the 5 love languages, right? Mm-hmm. Words of affirmation, physical touch. I mean, a hug is oxytocin. You hug your child for 20 seconds, literally, those bonding hormones release, right? So as they get older, they just want to run away. Well, you try to hold on. I mean, I hold on to him for 20 seconds. He knows. We're just going to stay there until he melts. And it is such a beautiful, so you start it now, then they'll be used to it, and it'll be no big deal. But it's so important. So, and again, thoughtful gifts. Giving those little things that says, I know you, I see you, I know you'll be delighted in this, acts of service. And again, modeling that for them in our family. Again, doing that every day is going to create that attachment that's going to be the base for you to have a lifelong relationship with your child, a lifelong friendship. I personally don't buy this that people say, I'm not your friend, I'm your parent. And I'm like, what did Jesus say? Jesus said, I don't no longer call you servants, I call you friends. And he said, greater love has no man than this, than to lay down your life for your friends. So I believe our kids are our disciples, right? We're here to love God, love others, and make disciples. And our children are our first disciples, our first friends. And I'm telling you, if we set that relationship, they're going to be our friends for the rest of their lives. My son here, I've gone on adventures with him that are just amazing because, and I'm convinced it's because he was not immersed in technology. When at 11 years old, he saw some professional filmmakers come into our home and work on some videos, and his lights lit up. And I know for a fact that if he had been in the basement on video games thinking, oh, mom and dad are working, he would have totally missed that opportunity. And from then on, he took off, and every Christmas, everything was Amazon equipment, to make more and more films. To the point now where he's a very accomplished filmmaker and doing professional work. So that's the payoff, mama. If you choose to do it this way, if you choose to do life being a conscious digital parent, raising healthy, holy, set-apart digital natives, your payoffs are going to be amazing. Now, it's not going to be easy. You're going to have a lot of pressure. There's going to be this incredible pressure. The average child now gets an iPhone at 10 years old, which is insanity to me. And the average child now experiences and sees pornography at 8 years old. And so our job is to protect their innocence. Our job is to say, no, we're gonna delay. One of my mantras in Unplugged family is delay, delay, delay when it comes to technology. Hold out as long as you can. For me, for example, I held out on video games till my son was almost 12. I honestly wish I had held out longer. There are literally a million of other things to do, and video games only beget video games. And now there's a myth and the propaganda of e-athletes. I don't know, has anybody heard that? So now our kids, I talked a doctor out of giving his 7-year-old a smartphone because he told me he was coaching Little League, and he said all the kids, their aspiration is to be YouTubers or gamers or e-athletes. And so we have bought into this narrative that our kids watch these things and that's who they want to be. So Jesus says, you know, Paul said, follow me as I follow Christ. So we gotta think, okay, who do we want our child to follow? Who do we want them to imitate? And I told this guy, no, this doctor, your child is never gonna be as brilliant as you are if you do that. Your child will never become the person that he was created to be if you give him that phone. And several years later, I called him and I said, hey, did you give him a phone? And he said, no. He said, I got it. And he understood, which is, I was like, oh, thank you. That's how I feel God uses phone, right? To at least make you aware. You don't have to buy anything of what I said. I just want you to think about it and go do your homework. I've given you tons handouts with tons of information. So take your time on that when you go home. Make time for it. And then the important thing is not to do this alone. You mama have to get with other mamas and make technology, the technology conversation, part of every day. Like you guys get together and talk about the kids, well, tech needs to be a part of that conversation. And also you have to think about what is it that I need to give up, let go, or put on hold for now while I focus on attachment, connection, and being a conscious digital parent. Keep that in mind. Next. Okay. When our kids, to bring our kids into what we're doing, I call it workarounds, right? To bring them into our whatever we're doing. Turn on the music. If we're cleaning, let's have kid-sized chores for them. Like, you know, people tend to put the kid aside with a device and then go do the work. It takes a lot longer. It's a lot messier. And this is why I say, mamas, slow down. Because think about what is it that we could let go? You know, we have all these spinning plates. What are the plates in your life that could drop or just be gone put away for a while so that you can focus on technology, conscious digital parenting. So I want you to get with your groups again and tell me one thing that you believe that you have been doing well when it comes to connection and attachment with your child, like your favorite thing with them, that you feel like, you know, they light up when you engage with them and this is what you want to do more and more. And what is one thing that you could maybe work on? One thing that you could say, you know what, I could do a little better in that area. Okay, go.
I know I took a bite as she was talking. I think one thing that I love theater, so it's always been since I was little, and I noticed that just having them imagine this, I'm like, can you imagine what they go, out in the woods, and as soon as I see that, they just stop what they're doing. So I don't know, I think I've noticed that has worked with my boys, especially my oldest. So if my oldest is doing it, I have a 3.5 and a 2-year-old. So I noticed that if my 3-year-old, if I get his attention, the little one just follows, so that's it.
Can you give me an example?
Okay, so I mean, even my husband's like, where do you go? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I'll see something and, okay, like junk, like the plants, like, oh my gosh, imagine there's a tiger. Let's go on an adventure. We're going to go find a tiger, so let's put on our hat, like whatever, So we do, I wish I did more pretend play and like actually dress like dress them up against them. But I don't. I just have them imagine it. So it kind of helps when we're out in restaurants or when we're out and about. It's very controlling. Like I don't have to depend on having someone just by having them use his imagination. So it's kind of neat because when he's out with friends or talking with my parents or anybody, it says, "Let's imagine." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I think that's
Yeah, I'm
good."
gonna write that down, Sarah. Oh, cute. And I'm sure it's easier out with new surroundings.
Yeah. So for sure, like it just helps you so it does take more on my part, like coming up with something, but because at first I was just doing it myself, and now it's more like, what do you think? What adventure do you think we can go on? So now that he's into it, he comes up with these cool ideas. So I don't know.
I'm writing this down.
That's definitely. I think that I'm not doing as much. I did in the beginning, but I did stop just because I thought it's taking way longer than I could is having them help me with chores. Like, I was really good at the beginning with my brothers, just having them take his place and taking his place. They've been good at doing that, but just other chores. Clean up, the bathroom. I'm always, I let them play and I'm always running around playing when I go crazy. Obviously, I don't want them to do that. So if I don't do that, then yes, I have to.
And I want to learn Indian.
Yes.
Because I noticed when I do that,
Yes.